And now on the line is Cathal Leavy. Cathal is a Dublin local area representative of the Party for Animal Welfare. Good morning, Cathal, and welcome back to Near FM.
How you doing, Darren?
Okay, good. Thanks, Cathal. Okay, Cathal, we are recording this interview early on Friday morning, the 30th of May, and it will be broadcast on Tony's programme on Near FM on Sunday. On Wednesday, just gone the 28th, there was great news coming from the Dáil, I imagine, in the eyes of the Party for Animal Welfare. For the benefit of any of our listeners, Cathal, who may not know what this great news is, can you fill them in on what the news is?
Yeah, it's just the TD Ruth Coppinger was proposing a bill to put a ban on fox hunting in this country. Now, as I said, fox hunting is banned in the UK and has been for over 20 years. So basically, we're trying to get it banned here, and Ruth Coppinger has, at long last, she is proposing this bill. Now, situation, I just want to fill your listeners in on the nature of fox hunting and why it should be banned. Now, you have the hunters will typically have a fox captured, a wild fox captured for the hunt, and before the hunt, the hounds are actually released for the hunt. The hunters will survey the route of the fox hunt, and they will purposely block any fox, like holes into fox dens where the fox can escape on that route. Now, this route, this route that the fox hunt will go, this could be anything up to 10, 15 miles that the fox is chased by hounds. And as I said, the hunters will purposely block all escape routes for the fox. So the fox is forced to run tirelessly for miles and miles and miles, and it will be savagely hunted down, and when it's caught, it will be savagely torn to pieces by the hounds. Now, it is absolutely wicked, and there is no justification for this whatsoever. The fact is, it's just the hunters themselves get sadistic pleasure from this. They enjoy seeing the fox suffer. They enjoy seeing it being torn apart and being treated so abysmally, and it is just out and out wicked. It should be banned, and there is no justification for it whatsoever. And the fact that some TDs are objecting to this, are trying to oppose this bill, it's just wicked. It's extremely shameful. Like, there is no justification for it whatsoever. And the like the Healy Ray objecting and some of the others, like, it just sickens me. Like, why? There is absolutely no justification for it. But the fact is, Ruth Coppinger is proposing this bill, and we have to see this enacted into law. There is no justification for it whatsoever.
Okay, I agree with you. I think it's a barbaric, I wouldn't call it a sport, a blood sport. It's barbaric. And you're saying it's been banned in the UK for the last 20 years. I've actually heard them over the years that even though it's banned, I think it's England and maybe Northern Ireland, the police, on foot of what they're told from their local MPs, the police don't enforce the ban, at least in England. Is this true, is it?
Well, in truth, I'm not aware of how the law is enforced over there. As I said, it's possible some people think they could still get away with this act, but the fact is, it is the law.
Okay,
now, whether they're enforcing it or not over there, I'm sure. The fact that it's law, they can be prosecuted if they're attempting to go ahead with this act bill. But as I said, I can't be aware whether the law is being enforced. But the fact that it is law means that if anybody is attempting to carry on with this wicked act, they will be prosecuted if they are found out to be doing it.
And in the UK, the Labour Party are back in government, and I believe it was Tony Blair who brought in the ban. So I'd say it's more likely being forced at the moment than previously, because for the last I think it's over 10 years, maybe longer than that, the Conservative Party have been a party in the UK, and the majority of their MPs are in favour of fox hunting. So it's probably no surprise that it wasn't being enforced then, but hopefully it's being enforced with Labour. Okay, Carl, I find it remarkable that I think for the first time Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael voted in the Dáil in favour of this bill, in favour of banning fox hunting. This is remarkable because there has been previous votes on it and they've always voted against banning fox hunting. Do you have an opinion, Carl, on what the change of mind of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael on this issue might be down to?
Well, in truth, all I can say is they're basically just copping on and waking up to themselves. Like, how they can actually oppose this bill, I don't know. But, like,
okay.
In truth, I'm just saying they're just copping on to themselves. They're waking up to the facts, the obvious truth. You know, this Irish government should be doing stuff to promote the welfare of animals, not ignoring everything and just afraid to stand up for anything that is morally right because fear they might lose a few votes. They just have to cop on, you know, and that's, at long last, they seem to be, you know.
Because, as you're saying there, this issue, fox hunting, is just only one issue that your party advocate on, because there are other blood sports in Ireland, aren't there? And there are other animal issues. You don't have to go through them all in depth now, but there are a whole area of animal welfare rights issues that you campaign on, are there?
Yeah, look, we're purposely against every blood sport there is. We want to see an end to the whole lot of them, and we campaign on all animal rights issues. So, as I said, we're against animal lab testing, the whole shebang. We just want to see an end to these wicked acts. We're sick and tired of the government. They're meant to get into power to do things good for society and do good things for the environment, and all they do is promote ignorance for fear they may lose votes. And the fact is, 80% of people are in favour of a ban on fox hunting. Pretty much, look, you could probably get similar numbers in favour of to ban animal lab testing. And I personally do campaign against animal lab testing, and the overwhelming amount of the public are in favour of a ban on animal lab testing. And the same is on fox hunting and all blood sports. We should not allow humans basically think they can get sadistic pleasure from seeing foxes hunted down in such wicked circumstances and torn to pieces just because some people get a little bit of pleasure. Not a little bit, they get sadistic pleasure from it. The fact is, the Irish government needs to wake up to themselves and stop always using the excuse saying, oh, a certain amount of people in the farming community will object to this fox hunting. Well, trust me, it should be put an end to, and it has to be put an end to. Nobody should be allowed to get sadistic pleasure, and it should not be allowed, and that's the fact.
Okay, Carl, what are the other they're called sports, but they're blood sports? There's badger hunting as well. Are there any others in Ireland?
Well, hare coursing as well.
Okay.
Hare coursing, and it's just that they have to be put an end to.
Okay,
you know, we can't justify these. There's no justification whatsoever, and it's just all I keep getting back to. I'm tired of this tiny, the fact that there's a tiny minority of people who actually want to see these blood sports kept as it is. The fact is, we can't allow it. The Irish government has to just cop on to themselves and stop being afraid to stand up for anything that is morally right. And just saying, oh God, we might lose a few votes. But they'll gain tons of votes as well if they actually stood up for something of value and stood up for something that is morally right. And stop just being so self-centered and just out to promote themselves and keep themselves in power. You're supposed to get into power for a reason, to do things better for society. and improve things, and not just go around being pig ignorant and allowing these wicked things to carry on.
Okay, you've already referred to this, Cathal, but I imagine that you are very disappointed that Sinn Féin and a couple of small parties like Aontú voted against banning fox hunting. Are you very disappointed about that, Cathal, yeah?
Yeah, I'm sickened to think they can actually do this, like, the fact is, and I'm just saying, why did they get into politics in the first place? Like, what are they getting into politics? They can't do anything good for society. Why are they in politics?
Okay.
Get them out.
Okay, I read an article in the Dublin People, on the Dublin People social media, that's the North Side, South Side People, on Wednesday, saying that Deputy Ruth Coppinger was saying that there should be a free vote amongst the parties in Dáil Éireann, so that, like, there probably are, I think, some Sinn Féin TDs who are in favour of banning fox hunting, but Mary Lou McDonald applied the whip on her party, so they all had to vote against banning fox hunting. So I imagine you agree with Deputy Coppinger that there should be a free vote for Sinn Féin and the other parties, yeah?
Well, in truth, what I feel, the truth is they should put this vote to the public at large. Because if they did put it to the vote to the public at large, to whether to ban fox hunting, trust me, it'd be banned overnight. It'd be gone straight like that. It'd be overwhelming.
That's a good idea. I never thought of that.
We shouldn't allow these TDs think they can start debating the pros and cons, and this is just sickening. It's sickening. Put it to the public and let them vote, and we'll have it banned outright. We shouldn't be letting this crowd of they're just sick of me that they can debate this, and this is going to carry on this debate for another few years. That pros and cons. But don't give me this idea of pros and cons. It shouldn't be a case of pros and cons. It's just downright. They wouldn't want to see it happen to their pet dog being chased down and for 10, 15 miles, chased down, and then be savagely torn to pieces by a pack of hounds. They wouldn't want it to happen to their pet dog, would they? Mm. Yeah, well, the fact is, foxes are sentient beings. They have the full range of emotions and feelings. They should not, for one second, be treated in this manner whatsoever. And it's just shame on the government. And that's the fact. Shame on the whole lot of them in Parliament. They sicken me, that they'll debate this for another few years, will we pass this bill into law? God help us, they wouldn't want to see it happen to them or nor their pet dog or whatever else. The fact is, foxes have feelings, all animals have feelings, and they should not in one way be allowed to be treated the way they are being treated.
Okay, Cathal, to come towards the end of the interview, and you've just referred to, touched on this there, but we're only a few months into the lifetime of the current government. It all feels like a lot longer, I think. But I think it is possible that this legislation, even though it's past the first stage, it may not become law possibly by the end of the government's full term in 4 or more years. Do you think that this could happen, Cathal, that the law, even it might not be enacted over the next, say, 4 or so years?
As I said, Darren, it's anyone's guess what is going to happen. As I said, it's anyone's guess. Look, it's just. Okay. I'm personally sickened by the fact that they'll continue to debate this, and while in the meantime, thousands of foxes will continue to suffer these abysmal deaths and wicked deaths and be chased to the point of exhaustion, and it's just, whether it gets passed into law within the lifetime of the government, it's anyone's guess.
Okay.
But the fact is, can I just end? The fact is, I'm in the Party for Animal Welfare. We will be running councillors, people in the local elections coming up and the general elections in the next few years. And the fact is, we urge people to vote for the Party for Animal Welfare. Trust me, they're a party who have values, and they will, once they get people into positions of power, they will outright campaign. They will ensure that there is an end to all these wicked wicked things done to animals in this country. We have to stop this. It can't go on anymore. And we're just sick of the shard that are in the Dáil at the moment, when they won't do anything and they won't stand up for anything that is morally right. All they're concerned about is promoting themselves and making sure they don't lose any votes and keep themselves into power. But why do they get themselves into power if they will do nothing good for society whatsoever?